All right. We are alive. And I just woke up. So this is going to be a train wreck of a stream. Click away if you don't want to see things breaking and just general shenanigans. However, I gotta say, I am super pumped. I think we're going to make something amazing. I just have a good feeling in my bones. It's going to be great. Chris, I have a confession. You remember the Arab guy spamming Discord links in your YouTube chat months ago? I was that guy. Please forgive me, man. Ban, no. You're forgiven, man. Yeah, we all screw up sometimes, you know. All right. How's everybody doing? Look, we got Trump's Dermick getting robbed at the grocery store. What'd you go buy something? Go buy some food. That's how you get robbed these days at the store. What else we got? I don't know. I think we're good, man. This is great. Great. I got trying out a new scene because I got this scene, which is good, but this might be better. I don't know. What do we like? I got to ask a question right out of the gate. Do we like the dual chat where we have Twitch and then YouTube's way over there on the far left? I feel like YouTube should be bigger. Can we make YouTube bigger? I bet we can. Maybe not. Maybe it's like a control shift. Come on, give me something. Oh, yeah, see, that's better. It's just too small. So small. So we got this. We got the side-by-side, the competing platforms on chat, right? Or we can go with the combined Unity chat. What do we think? I mean, this is cleaner. But I'd be remiss to mention I've noticed a trend. A lot of streamers, what they do is they just have the side-by-side with the separation. And I think, what do you think? What is the best here? Do you like the condensed all-in-one timeline? Or do you want just big screen, split up twice, Twitch and YouTube going at it side-by-side? You like this one better? Wait, which one? When did you write that comment? Did you write that comment on the dual, or did you write it on the Super Giant Chris one? The combined. Really? Look at that. Somebody said combined chat. Yeah, this one. All right. Combined. Look at that. We're going to be different. We're going to go with the combined. I like the combined too. I spent a crap ton of time on this. Although I do got to update my logo. So I was kind of hoping you guys would say that because otherwise I spent way too much time designing this. Chris, you look very tired. I just woke up from a nap. So I'm good. Got my energy drink. Don't worry, it's Celsius. Just crap tons of caffeine. So here in about 30 minutes, I'm going to be flying off the ceiling. It's going to be great. I don't think that's actually a term. So if you're not an English speaker, don't ever repeat anything I say. People are going to look at you kind of strange because that's how they look at me all the time. So what do you use to combine the chats? It's like a combination of StreamerBot and some scripts. Specific actions and things like that to kind of condense all the alerts and everything into one single area. Sometimes it doesn't work that great though. But I think this way is probably the best. But anyways, let's get going today. I think we are ready to make it awesome. Alrighty. I was doing this. I was actually going to make a YouTube video. I know. I hadn't quit YouTube. Why can't I quit it? I just love it so much. But I haven't been making videos lately, and I was like, okay, we got to get something out. So, new YouTube video coming up soon, specifically over WinUtil. Because this last update we did, let's just show that real fast. This was kind of an insane update. There was a few changes since the last big release update, so spent some time on it. Yeah. Oh, wait. And there's more. Let's, yeah. Each one of these is a pull request. I think there's some older ones that grabbed that I missed on some of them, but yeah. A few. And that was released... What day was this released? The 30th. So 4 days ago. We are now up to almost 20,000 runs of the video, of the script every day. So it is by far now the largest PowerShell script in the world. That's crazy. That is so crazy. So 80,000 runs since it launched on the 30th. That blows my mind. You know, there is a theory out there called dead internet theory. Maybe it's just all bots. I don't see 80,000 people running this thing in 4 days. That seems unreal. But cool. So anyways, that's this one. I did also notice something today when I was in here. I had noticed this new... Damn it, Microsoft. If they weren't... I tell you, someone asked, I think I was on stream the other day, and said, hey, aren't you afraid someone's going to steal your utility since it's all open source and everything's plain text with nothing obfuscated? No. You want to know why? Because if they did, they'd have to maintain the damn thing. And let me just tell you how aggravating sometimes Windows can be. Let's say you want to uninstall Microsoft Edge. Now, if you go back in my videos, I think something like, what, 3 weeks ago? Was it? Let's just look at the vids. Oh, no. Am I logged out? Damn it, I'm logged out. I can tell you already I'm logged out. All right, that's fine. Hadn't been on Windows checking stuff on the old Googs. So, if we look back through here, we did adding Edge uninstall on August 10th. So roughly about 3 weeks ago, we spent, I think this was about a 4 or 5 hour stream going through this. Now, that's obviously cut down with all silence removed and everything. That's how I like to do all my VODs. So it's easy to rewatch on the back end. And then, this is so wild. So in 3 weeks' time, Microsoft has already patched out the ability to switch the region. And now when you run the Microsoft remove Edge script, they've completely removed the key on an update, and this method no longer works. Something I spent 4 or 5 hours on, just poof, just changed on the back end. So, no, I'm not worried on someone stealing my open source application and charging $1 million and retiring in their own private island somewhere. That'd be cool. But it's more, I'm afraid I might go insane from maintaining this damn thing because of all the shenanigans Microsoft pulls, and on the back end, everything changes at a moment's notice. It's just wild. It's just wild. I need a Hyperland video man. All right, well, I think we got to write something up for Hyperland. I think that'd be kind of cool. We got Hyperland Titus, but we need to update that. We need to finish DWM Titus as well, which I know nobody really cares about except me, but I do care about that. I want to make sure that's completely automated so people could 100% replicate it. That's a big one. Can you do a poll? Send you a question. Check Linutel when you tell readme. Yeah, maybe. Can I uninstall Armory Crate? Ooh, if you do Armory Crate, Woods, that's a good question. That's an ASUS's crappy motherboards. They have this terrible spying telemetry tool called Armor Crate. It's awful, but you can go into BIOS and actually disable it on almost every BIOS from ASUS. So at least ASUS has the disable option for now, but if they ever remove that, never ever buy an ASUS motherboard. So yeah, kind of a big. What's the total WinUtil folder on your side? I don't know. WinUtil, the script has actually been reduced. The Drift user did an amazing performance release on the utility, and Drift user brought it back down to oh geez, what was it? I gotta pull up this one because I need to read this question. What was it? Oh my god, we got so much chat going on the screen. It's just ridiculous. I just wanted to see that. Lost my train of thought. I lost it. Anywho, yeah. Oh no, not a community server. Not another Discord community server. I can't do Discords, man. I hate Discord. I just do. I know everyone loves Discord and communities, but man, it just is a matter of time before it gets so big and it blows up and then something happens. It's happened to me twice now. I just unofficial server's cool. I'll put it on like a project if it has a specific use case, but man, that's not something I ever want to do or run or advertise. All right. The focus is weak in this one. Hyperland. That's true. That's okay. I'm waiting for the caffeine to kick in. And then we are off to the races. Okay. TLP or PPD? TLP. I still love TLP. TLP properly configured. You got to install TLP and then change the TLP configuration file. And then it's actually pretty good. Most people don't configure it properly, and then TLP is kind of pointless. But I wish you luck. TLP is pretty awesome, I think. Alrighty. Let's come into this. I want to say, let's see what branch we have. We created a new branch called DWM Fixes. Let's fetch it. Linutel. Now, I wanted to say we were missing some stuff in the DWM because I was working on it because I wanted people to replicate my DWM precisely. And it's not that I necessarily want people to replicate it precisely. I just don't ever want to set it up again. I just want it to work on every install, no matter what, just great. So here's all my functions. We got a nerd font installation. We have PyCon animations, all that good stuff. So we have the check environment, check escalation, set up DWM, make DWM. So this one actually needs display manager. Set up display manager. So we do need a setup of display manager. All right, here we go. Copilot taking over. Autocorrect on steroids. Let's go. Let's see, what do we got? It's taking over our jobs. It's not awful. So a couple things here. That's wrong. Yeah. I think Xorg actually is there, but Xinit isn't. I think it's actually Xorg Xinit, X server Xorg. X Wayland is not needed. This is not needed. That's not needed. Okay. That's pretty funny. What a hallucination. What a piece of crap. I mean, it's kind of nice. It does save me time. But you got to know it's never going to actually give you what you need. So first up, let's do a Pac-Man. And we're going to look at Xorg. And what we need... Ooh, I wonder... Let's do a Q. Grep Xorg. Okay. So what we need is Xorg-server, Xorg xinit, and is there tools maybe we grab? Do we want Xorg tools? Let's do a Pac-Man Xorg grep tools. Oh, well. We're also going to do a distro box to grab the other ones. I want to grab kind of Xorg tools because I have there's many really cool ones like XDO tool and other neat ones that come with Xorg that I do like. I think it grabs almost all of that for the most part. Might come back. Let's see. I think for now, really the big things is Xorg-server. All these are dependencies of that. And then also xinit. That's probably the biggest, two biggest things with this. So, display manager. Xorg, xinit, Xorg. That's actually wrong, I think. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not, actually. We'll look it up. No, that's wrong. X server. Get out of here. Go home, you drunk. All right. Xorg, xinit, Xorg-server. That's fine on PyCom. You can see Xorg server and Xorg xinit. Great. This, I think, is wrong. This is what I love about DistroBox. We're going to enter Debian Bookworm. It's what most things are based off of. So we're going to just do an apt search Xorg. We're going to grep server. So we've got a few things here. Ooh, I should have been a little more specific. Xserver-Xorg. Oh. Well, look at me. Look at that LLM. It actually predicted what was needed. But is there just like a plain Xorg, I wonder? Apt search Xorg. Just a plain Xorg app. So you have Xserver. You do have just plain Xorg. I don't think Xorg server is needed then. I think just Xorg would be sufficient. And then Xorg xinit, we need to check too. Apt search Xorg dash. Xinit? No. Xinit, it's not there. So let's go xinit. It's just xinit. Okay, yeah. So that one was close, but not quite. So it's just Xorg xinit for Debian. Now Fedora. Let's exit here. Distro box. Hopping over to Fedora. And now we're in Fedora. So now we're going to go DNF search Xorg. Alrighty. I do like DNF's layout a lot better than everything else. Xorg-xinit on Arch. Correct, Rezo. So now we're looking for this one's xinit. Grab that. So Xorg X in it. That one did not. It did not guess it correctly there, but that's all right. And then Xorg. What do we have? There's server common. There should be a global package though. DNF search Xorg. Man. No love here. X Display Manager, XDM. I didn't know X had a display manager. That's got to be pretty awful. All right, which one do we want? Eeny, miny, mo. Oh yeah, Nala's way better than apt for sure. I love Nala. I mean, technically it's not like a replacement for it. It's just like a wrapper that sits on top of apt and interfaces with it, much like Aptitude did. Okay. And then this guy. So this should grab all of the display manager. Perfect, right? Now, this is actually setting up Xorg. Now, Echo. Sure. Setting up display manager. This one actually should be, how do we want to approach this one? This is going to be a little more tricky. So what I would like to do for this one, I think we need to check if LightDM, SDDM, or GDM is, oh God, I hate GDM. Somebody with GNOME's going to use this though. What other display managers are there? I think we're using GreetD on this guy, aren't we? What are we using? GreetD maybe? Oh. God bless, we are using GreetD on this guy. You know, I don't really like GreetD that much. But it is lightweight. And I don't really think I'd suggest GreetD. I probably would suggest SDDM, honestly. SDDM's given me the least amount of headaches out of everything. LightDM had a funny bug where anytime I logged out, it kind of like locked up and it didn't relaunch DWM properly. So LightDM's kind of on my shit list, where SDDM's always been good to me. It's a little heavy though. Some people aren't going to like that. Using SDDM on just a DWM is kind of insane because SDDM is bigger than the entire window manager. Cosmic, I'm not sure what Cosmic's using. We'll see. System 76 are just crazy people. I mean that in the best way possible too. Like, talk about a footprint to support. They do the hardware and they do heavy modifications of hardware because they change out like the BIOS and strip out like Intel ME in some systems and do core boot. I know that process is a nightmare to deal with. And then they have an entire distribution, Pop OS, right, that they're keeping up with. And then on top of that, they're doing an entire new tool set where they're not using like GTK or Qt. They're doing a whole new thing for Cosmic and building out an entire desktop environment on top of having the distribution. And then on top of all that, they sell all this hardware. That bundles it all together. That is such a massive support surface. You'd have to be crazy to try that. And I really do appreciate them trying. I think it's amazing. But good Lord, I'm glad I don't work there. That sounds just like so much support that has to go into it. So my hat's off to System 76. They are truly a unique unicorn doing God tier work. But oof, I don't even want to think what their support tickets look like. It would be insane. Chris, question. If your Arch Titus on GitHub work, because I want to use Arch. No, Arch Titus doesn't work. Everything's going to be linutil. Thank you for mentioning that. Speaking of support, I suck at it. So let's make this a little bit easier on folks too. Let's take this Arch Titus. Yes. All right, great. We are going to... No. This one is going into... Ooh, before we archive. All right, here we go. The all-in-one quick Arch setup is part of linutil now. All right. Bloop. Let's just put that there. And alrighty. Okay, so now when people go to the Arch Titus branch, you'll see it's part of there. We're going to go settings, and I think down here we're going to do archive this repository. And this one, we spent, God bless, almost, what was it, 8 hours, 9 hours, something like that. Yeah, I use auto login for my stuff. Honestly, when it comes to login scripts, that type of thing in Linux, I always, if I'm concerned about physical security on the device, which that's what a display manager really does, it presents you with the login prompt. I prefer a Luke's encrypted, and then I still keep my auto login stuff, and then I do, you know, just the Luke's password and startup, because then it needs a password to unencrypt the device. Then it just sits in there and auto logs in. So I always auto log in no matter what. And if I need security, I do Luke's, because it's so easy to bypass both systemd boot and also grub. It's very trivial to get into a Linux system with a login. So to me, it's kind of pointless doing a display manager in general. I mean, honestly, we could just change the greetd built into Linux to just not even do that. But I don't know. I kind of go back and forth and waffle on that. So yeah. Have you tried framework laptops? If so, what are your thoughts on them? Yeah, so like when it comes to System 76, I don't like Pop! OS. I've called it a worthless distribution. And I don't like their base configuration. I just don't. It's not my jam. I mean, based on GNOME right now, Cosmic looks promising. I think it'll be neat to see what they come up with, but I'm not going to try that until it's more baked. You know, yeah, I don't want to try an alpha. I'm just going to sit here and rip it apart and then give them a bad review. And I appreciate what they're trying to accomplish, and I want to give them every shade of the doubt on that. Because right now, if I were to review it, I know I would give it a negative review. In that same token, when it comes to framework laptops, I also really like what they're trying to do, and I stay away from them because I know I wouldn't like them. And what do I mean by that? One, I'd get probably skewered by Linus for saying this, but It is a modular laptop where you can upgrade components of it. Sounds great in theory, but in practice, I just don't see that much longevity in that. Now, as far as Linux compatibility with framework, I also kind of have, how do I say this more elegantly? I don't think it's that good in comparison to the competition. The main issue I have is when it comes to laptops and regression. You do see a lot of regression on laptops, and they don't run their own Linux repositories, which is a big issue. And if you don't run your own Linux repositories, you have no way of sticking a kernel version. And you might be thinking, Titus, I always want to be on the latest kernel. You don't when you're out in the field and you're on a laptop. You want to make sure your Linux manufacturer, if you go with a Linux laptop, whether that's System 76, Tuxedo, Kfocus, they all run their own repositories, and they're able to stick the kernel versions. So let's say a new kernel version rolls down and you upgrade to it. Well, now all of a sudden your suspend stops working. What the hell? This can happen with like a framework laptop because, well, they're just running with mainline. And that's not a good way to actually support Linux. It's like taking your HP or your Asus or, you know, major manufacturer and sticking Linux on it. It could be good, but you could also have regressions. You could have kernel updates that cause problems because there's nobody at any of these manufacturers really testing the kernel versions to that laptop hardware. And that's where you run into problems. So that's the big issue I have with framework or, you know, System 76 is more of just a configuration. So that's usually, you know, Tuxedo and Kfocus are the two I usually roll back and forth with. Put that in the tool, sticky kernel. Yeah, I mean, you'd need to probably roll Debian, and then I would do like an apt hold on your Linux kernel version. Honestly, I probably should have done it to this system here because here, I'll just show you. I'll show you a regression. It happens to us here as well. Oh, that's right. We're doing the display manager. Xorg setup. We'll do a commit for it. Push that, sure. And then over here, so what I'm gonna do is close out of all my tabs, right? And then what I want to do is, oh, let's do quit. I want to suspend my computer, right? So check this out. I'll hit suspend. Computer just went off, right? Blinking light. It's ready to be suspended. Now this worked back in the day. And now I'm going to turn it back on. And it would come back up. However, sometime in the last update or so, I've been just getting like a black screen. I don't know why. It just stopped working. It's called a regression. So while this did, well, it used to work, maybe it'll pop up. But it did not. It looks like it's still bugged. So once upon a time, the suspend on my computer worked, and then it just stopped working, and it was just a kernel update on Arch that broke it. If this was sent to me by System 76, probably wouldn't have this issue. Or some other supported desktop manufacturer. Probably wouldn't have that issue. Because they'd have their own, I'd be sticking with all the stuff, and then really that. But obviously this is a little more obscure, and who really suspends a Xeon processor? It's a very strange bug to have. So my fix is to go through this whole rigmarole of pressing the power button, and then it goes, oh, we detected a power off signal. Oh, there we go. There's something. And then it's going to shut down everything. and eventually it's going to turn back off. And whenever it does, I'll be able to turn it back on. It'll be fine. But this is a typical of different configurations where you see it's just my specific hardware configuration. A lot of people aren't going to have this issue, but my specific hardware suspend stopped working, and it's because of the kernel version that I'm on. It's just one of those Linux things. This is why we have image pinning on Universal Blue. Yes, that's a good point, Hikari. That's why I always recommend Bazite for a lot of new users, because they pin a lot of packages and say, hey, this entire image, yes, it's very big. Yes, it's very bloated, is what most people, Arch tiling window manager users would say. But it works, and it works pretty darn well. So, yeah. Hikari and a lot of the Bazite team over there are doing God's work. I love Bazite for what it is. And it's a great newbie one too. I suspect the NVIDIA driver not liking the newer kernel, which is super normal. Welcome to NVIDIA life. Yeah. Yeah. I think a combination of my specific hardware with NVIDIA, probably the case. Just Linux things. But this is why you'd go buy an expensive Linux laptop, because somebody at these places, these companies, they have a guy that's sitting there loading up each kernel and go, oh, we got a regression. Maybe we're going to stick the kernel on the repo so nobody can update to the latest. And then we're going to either submit a bug fix directly to, the Linux Foundation, or maybe they'll roll their own update and do a hot fix and then patch the kernel. I mean, there's a lot of different ways. Or maybe it's just the NVIDIA drivers and they're just going to stick the old NVIDIA drivers in and you don't have the problem. There's a lot of bug fixes to go there. But that's why you pay the extra money for a Linux laptop. But you don't run into that with, like, Framework. I don't think does custom repos or has any regression testing. So you're just kind of at the whims of the mainline kernel. But good to know. I have a problem with the Fedora installer. I hate the Fedora installer. Let me explain. Let me explain why I hate the Fedora installer. It makes 3 partitions. It is insane. And it has to be in a specific way for any of them to work. Any rail-based distro has an insane partition setup. And I hate it. Absolutely hate that. So all rail-based stuff does. I just don't understand their thought process between that whole partition setup on the Fedora. I'd almost want to do an install of Fedora just so I can roast their default setup. It's silly. But I think there's probably some rhyme or reason on how they do the encryption on Fedora, because they don't want to hide the boot. But also, you got to have the EFI. So I think the EFI folders open up, but they also create a partition for boot. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? If boot is not going to be part of that, and or needs to be seen, I mean, it's funky. I really just hate it. I absolutely will die on that hill. Anyways. All right. Oh, ZFS. I love ZFS. Yeah. Yeah, let me see if I can give you some documentation behind my little mini rant there. Oh, let's go. Nope. Well. Dagnummit. All right, here we go. Let's go. 7, restore window. It's like, lost all of it. All right, here we go. Let's go Fedora partitions. F11 is a better full screen, by the way. Yeah. So let's see. Does it show the partition scheme? Maybe their documentation will tell us why they do it the way they do it. So they got that. And then, oh, that's right. They do the LVM too. Chapter. Do we have partition within partitions? And then they're going into that. Where are we at? Because they separate home and root as well. But they do that within a partition scheme. Just give me the default setup. Okay. So here's the recommended partition scheme. They do /boot at 1 gig, contains the system kernel, which allows it to boot. However, EFI is a separate partition on top of the boot partition. They separate these out too, drives me crazy. Then they set root to 25 gigs specifically. However, usually root and home is the same partition, and then they do like an LVM to split the two apart, which is kind of crazy and insane. And then they usually also toss a swap partition in there. I honestly like swap files and not partitions. I've never seen benefits from doing the files anytime I did a comparison between the two. But that's why, yeah, it doesn't actually show. God bless. It would probably be faster for me to just install the damn thing and just see the default scheme. But yeah, anywho, yeah, it's insane. I can't get behind their partitioning. Oh, you gave me the answer? Okay, geez, let's look. Let's just pull it up. I can't, chat runs so fast. I'm just like, God bless, I can't read that quick. It's just a giant line of code. All right, Hikari, let's see what we got. Come on. Oh, it doesn't show. EmuDeck. Okay, NVIDIA. EmuDeck console. Man, I gotta say, I am kind of itching to try Bazite again. If I could just roll my own image of Bazite with DWM, oh, I'd love it. But no, everything's working fine. Yeah. I did promise 1 year of Arch. Oh, an issue. Let's check it out. 225 issue. Let's look. Somebody wrote an issue, their first issue, on old GitHub. Let's take a look. All right, 225. Error on installing DWM due to X11. Ooh, I like it. Got screenshots too. Pretty. All right. On Pop! OS, it seems to not install X11 libraries or detect them on build. Actually, we just patched that. Haven't merged this back in. It installs DWM Titus. We do have a failure. X11 XCP. Oh, XCB. Are we not doing that? Let's look. I think I might miss the XCP libraries. Let's take a look at DWM. Now, if we look at our dependencies for the... Where are you at? Setup DWM. Get out of here. All right. Oh, XCB is not there. It is a dependency missing. Okay. XCB. Let's go libxcb probably. Yeah, probably libxcb. Yeah. It's actually a really good one. I missed it. So we have libxft, but we also need libxcb. And then at the same time, we need to go into DistroBox to address his issue. He's going to be Debian-based with Pop! OS, Bookworm. And then we're going to go apt search xcb. Let's go libxcb, see what it pulls up with. Might not be anything. So you have xc binding development files. This one should be there, I want to say. Do we have any other dev? Let's just grep dev, because we're going to need the development files for these, and I don't want to overwhelm it. I want to say libxcb1 dev is what we're going to need. And before I say final answer here, let's see if there's any better packages I find. Nah, all those are garbage. Okay. Ooh. Wait, there is also libxinput dev. Oh, and then there's Xenorama extension bindings right here. Oh, this is decisions to be made here. Can't remember. I want to say libxcp1-dev would be sufficient. But I'm unsure. If I was a betting man, I'm going to bet on this guy. So, for apt, that's going to be this guy. And then this one down here, it says it's going to be, DNF's going to be libxcb devil. I know. It always drive people crazy. It's not pronounced devil. It's a rail-based system. It's pronounced devil. All right, DistroBox, enter Fedora. Yeah. Here we go. This is going to be a good one. Grub Customizer, do people still use that? Oh my gosh. Grub's the best. Grub is the best. I love Grub. I know it's a little jank, but man, the themes on Grub are just the best. You're never going to sway me from it. Grub forever. I will die on this hill. All right, DNF. Search libxcb devil. Yep. The devil. Ooh, would you ever do Linux from scratch again? Also, Debian 12 is the only good Linux OS. No offense to Arch. Just not stable enough for me. No name. Nah, probably not. I don't think I would do Linux from scratch again. Just because it's, you know, there's some things to learn there. I specifically like the cross-compiling when you're doing Linux from scratch, but there's no purpose of it after you're done. Like, yeah, you get it up and going, you got everything done, but do you really want to build everything from source? Do you want to track down each independent library and dependency and build that version of it to put into your Linux? I mean, you'd have to know life it. I mean, you could never get anything done on your damn system. So Linux from scratch is an educational experience, a fun one, but it does take a very long time. And at the end of the day, you're going to have a system that you could do basic tasks in, but it's not very practical. So you're just going to wipe it out and end up using Arch or Debian. I love it though. And thanks for the donation as well. What's Grub's track record on breaking Arch update compared to other Linux bootloaders? Well, War Machine, that's a good thing to know. Grub has a pretty terrible track record at breaking Arch. So the fact I like to run Grub on Arch, well, I'm just kind of an unstable person, so, you know, it makes sense for me. But I think it's only broken it like 4 or 5 times where you couldn't boot your system because the Grub package updated and broke it into a million pieces. And systemd boot has done it that many times. But Grub looks way better. I love Grub. Get off me. Grub's better. It looks better. It sucks though. I just don't like systemd boot that much, man. I just like my Grub. I love it. It's the bastard child of bootloaders, but I love it to death. Thank you for the resub there, Mr. Gain. Oh, man. I like my shiny pearls just to boot into DWM. I know there's not much rhyme or reason to my configuration, but hey, it works for me. You know, said in typical Linux user fashion. I don't care about the bootloader as long as it does the job and boots the system. In that case, systemd boot's probably better. In all seriousness, systemd boot's probably what I should use. But I just like, I like Grub. But I probably shouldn't use Grub. Anywho. I'm dwelling on that. I was like, should I switch to systemd boot live on stream? Oh, anyways, before we get too far here, let's do this commit. Do you guys want to see some breakage? Some amazing switching from Grub live on stream and not having a functional system? I haven't broken this system in a little bit. Garage, thanks for the prime. All right. Twist my arm. I think we gotta do that. Systemd boot. Now, what is the proper way? Generate systemd boot entries. Let's just look up and blind. I'm blind. So bright. ArchWiki, where are you at? Oh god, dark mode. Okay. You know what's surprising to me? How the hell does the ArchWiki not have a dark mode? I mean, this is kind of shocking to me. The most Arch thing ever is dark mode, and yet the ArchWiki does not have a dark mode. Oh. Never mind. It's right here. Ah. Never mind. There's a dark mode. You just got to click the little 3 dots in the top right. My bad. Sorry, ArchWiki people. You already got that. Anyways, moving on. Yeah, it does. How? Okay, here we go. I'm going to recant. How is that not the default? How is that not the default? I'm just saying. Wait a second. I'm drinking the wrong thing for this. This is just caffeine. No, if we're going to do the bootloader, we need a beer. We need a beer for the bootloader. Yeah, now we can install the bootloader. Oh, let's see. Golden Upside Down. The beer of champions. Oh, that's tasty. All right, now it's bootloader time. Yes. Should we read the instructions? I feel like this is cheating. All right, install the UEFI boot manager with bootctl install. All right, cool. Bootctl install. All right. What do we got? Mount point boot, which backs a random seed file, is world accessible, which is a security hole. Okay, whatever. Oh, you know, as I was like knocking Fedora earlier, I think the whole reason why they do their partition scheme the way they do is because of security. It makes sense. Anywho, like I care about that. All right, let's go. Keep going. So we got bootctl install. And let's go Pacman R grub star. What's the wild card? Grub 2? What is the package for grub? Oh, grub's there. So you can't just do a Pacman R grub? Failed dependency. Removing grub breaks lib guest fs. Huh. Oh, I didn't back up anything first. Backups are for losers. Real men drink beer and install the bootloader without reading the necessary packages first. All right, here we go. We do it live. That's how we do it. All right. So after that, well, let's go into the boot directory, I suppose. If we look at EFI, we should have like Arch. And then there's the EFI loader. Where's the system D probably, huh? No, not there. Boot. Still no loader file. We need a loader file, right? What's Linux? Can we just do a tree? Yeah, tree is probably the best way to show that. Yeah. Well, I feel like we need to do something special here. I think we do a loader file. Install xboot LDR. What the hell is xboot LDR? Interesting. Yeah, I don't think we need to do that. Updating UEFI boot manager, that's fine. You can do systemd service. Nah. You got the hook. Lame. Super lame. Loader configuration. Here we go. How do they not have like a loader build? Systemd loader? There's got to be an easy way to make a systemd loader file. Generate entries. Oh, here. Gemini's going to tell us this could obviously not go completely awry. The main configuration file systemd blah, 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 /loader/loader.conf in ESP. If you do the command bootctl list, you should see the available configured loot entries. Okay. Bootctl list. Well, that's not good. We need entries. I feel like there should be a... Let's see the tree file here. There is loader entries here with a loader.conf. off of the boot menu. So we could do like a vim loader, loader.com, and that's all commented out. So there's not really much going on there. Oh, hook is outdated, not needed anymore. Okay, well, that's good. Hey, AI, when would it steer us wrong? Our AI friends, they would obviously never do anything wrong to us, right? Where's the generation for loader file? That's what I'm like wondering on. So the loader configuration is this. So you go into entries and then it'll be Arch, and then you can type it in manually. There's gotta be a better way. Right? There's gotta be a better way than this. That's why I like Grub. It uses FS tab and it's not like made by a crackhead. I feel like every time I do this, I'm just like, why is this so difficult? This should be way easier. Anywho, just my thought. Yeah. You write the loader. This is so stupid. How do they not have a generation? Like, go back in time 15 years. FS tab has a freaking generator. How does System D not have a generator today? This is why Pop! OS uses kernel stub. Oh, what the hell's kernel stub? System D makes things easier. I kind of want to know kernel stub. What the hell is that? A simple EFI boot manager for Linux. It's got 73 stars. Well, an automatic manager for booting Linux on UEFI. Kernel stub is a utility to automatically manage. Oh, I like this. Screw System D. Let's just bypass the entire thing. Well, this is genius. How does it only have 73 stars? Well, now you got 74 stars, guys. You're doing God's work. We're gonna switch to kernel stub. It's crazy, but I like it. So, build dependencies kernel stub is made by the Pop! OS team. Can we install it on Arch, you think? These packages are definitely not Arch friendly. But maybe. I like it. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let's go. Kernel stub Arch. EFI stub. Otherwise known as EFI executable, can be directly booted from the UEFI firmware. By default, Arch Linux kernels are EFI stubs. And compiling the kernel can activate it by setting configure EFI stub to Y under the kernel configuration. Oh, nice. Okay, preparing the EFI stub. Now, this removes the need for an intermediate such as grub. So then you just say, create it with EFI boot manager. Really? Get out of town. So you just use EFI Bootmanager to do it. It'll just create the entire EFI stub in the BIOS. Man, that sounds cool. All right, well let's see what we got here. All right, let's go do us a little bin bash script, shall we? Let's just retrieve a BLK ID, please. Now, what do we want to do? All right, this is Windows. This is our Linux. We got our root, our home. I want to say you got your root here. I don't know what this resume is. You got your flags for rewrite root flags. That's all fine. Oh, I got you. Yeah, we don't need to do this. This is BetterFS. You can see it from the root flags right here. So you probably don't need that. Let's go log level 3, quiet, init RAM. That image is actually proper. I like this. I think it's going to be amazing. I'm telling you, this is going to be the best thing ever. Forget writing bootloaders for System D. Just write the EFI entry directly. What could go wrong? It's brilliant. Just absolutely brilliant. If I don't say so myself, what could go wrong? I don't know what this resume is right here. Seems important. Let's delete it. Yeah. That seems okay. EFI stub is not kernel stub. But I think it'll still work. This will break the system. If your system doesn't boot or you make the wrong kernel arg, good luck removing it. Oh yeah, so if you screw something up here, this would completely break the system. I kind of like it. I kind of like that. I could totally see that. I mean, high chance of probability of completely bricking your system. Sign me up. Okay. So dev, this one, art-1. I'm not sure what that does. I feel like that's incorrect. Probably want to do like a dev NVMe 1 EFI stub arch. I like it. I mean, I really think this could be best. Get rid of both the idea of the bootloaders and you're directly in. I feel like this would improve your boot speed too. Yeah, I shouldn't have taken the nap before the stream. I'm kind of like, oh, let's do a 12-hour stream now. Let's just go crazy. We'll break something and then spend 8 hours fixing it. Now, does System D boot use FS-Tab? I don't think it does it? So looking at this, you can do, oh, there's an auto UEFI entry. Might look at that. Some UEFI implementations can directly modify NVRAM. Man, I like this. This sounds fun. And there's also Boot. This is simplifying, automating that. Using a Pac-Man hook. I'm not a big fan of that. All right, then you got using UEFI shell. Cool. Boot entry with fallback. Who needs a fallback? EFI stub does not work on some Dell systems. I guess we're going to find out if it works with the HP Wolf system I got going on. All right, this one was updated 5 months ago. It's got 42 stars. Seems legit. Simple bin bash to generate entries. Simple interactive tool to auto-create UEFI boot entries. Let's grab it, man. Offie. Let's run it. Well, let's just go wget. Alrighty. So, if we go there, Offie. All right. Simple tool to automate entries. No changes will be written to the disk before... Start now. Yes. Let's start. Please specify an EFI partition. Uno momento. I think we use... Oh, man. I kind of went balls to the wall on this one. 600 megs. That seems a little light. Yeah. We'll use dev NVMe N1 P1. We're not going to back up boot. We're good. Feel good about this. It's going to be great. All right. Include microcode. Intel, please. Okay. Choose your Linux kernel. We want S for LTS. All right. Please Titus Arch. Oh, let's call it Arch Titus. Yes. Alrighty. Composed commands are as follows. That is wrong. Create executable, create and execute. Sets UEFI boot entries or abort. Now looking at this. Yeah. That might work. The thing I'm not like sold on, I think this is not really all that done well, is this one right here, the EFI one. Well, that's one of my NVMe drives. This NVMe right here is actually Windows. So setting it to the root partition is probably not going to have a happy ending. So, cool idea for a script. Poor execution. All right, neat. All right. Back to it, though. All right, we got that. We're going to go back to our break.sh. I feel like I think we're really close on this one. I want to say the disk right here. I think what this should be is an E1. The reason why I say that is if we look over here, let's just grab this. LSB, you can see right now, part 1 of NVMe E1 N1 is the boot partition. So I think that is actually correct. So then we do that. We say part 1, partition 1, label EFI stub Arch, Boom. And then you got the LTS. Now you say, hey, what is the root UUID? That's going to be the root partition, which would be right here. This would be the DA96, DA96. The one thing I'm like, I don't know on is the home. Like, don't we need to specify home in here as well? Or will it find it? I don't know there. Yeah. Oh, it uses FS tab. All right, well, that's all I needed. Chat said FS tab is used. Let's go. Ready for this? Buckle up. We're going to run our break sh script. We're ready. What do we call this again? EFI stub arch. Boot 7. Here we go. Wait, is there a check? Can we check it before we run? Should we check it? Or do we just shoot from the hip? Oh, I don't know. I think we just go. Do we check or do we end up with a black screen? What's the worst that could happen? Agreed. I agreed. Let's just shoot from the hip. Let's go. Alrighty. Reboot. It's on us. You think I got the EFI stub done right? And it's gone. Now, I wonder if a grub's still sitting there, would it grab it on boot or not? That's where I'm kind of like, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. All right, here's the wolf. And... huh. I feel like we should be at our desktop. There we go. GG. It worked. EFI stubbed that bad boy. No grub. No system D loader entries. We just shot from the hip. Nailed it. Bullseye on the first go. That's how it's done. Too easy. Too easy. We just got an EFI stub it. I can't believe that worked. I cannot believe that worked. That was just insane. That's actually kind of cool, though. It actually adds an EFI entry. So if we went back into BIOS, you'd go back in. The downside to this is if I would have really screwed that up, you'd almost have to go into a live ISO and then chroot in, fix it up that way. So if this didn't work, we would have been resulting to a live environment to fix. But I've done that a lot, so I don't really care. I was like, But the fact that worked is kind of insane. So System 76's version of it, I want to say they probably do something to that effect, right? What were they building with their tool? Because their tool was specific to a Debian or Ubuntu-based system, right? So they have kernel stub. So instead of using EFI Bootmanager, they're doing something completely different with it. It looks like it's written in Python. Oh, what kind of mad lad would write a boot script in Python? System 76 folks would. It's kind of insane, but I like it. I like the madness of it. So why wouldn't you just use EFI Bootmanager direct like we did? We just EFI stubbed it. So maybe their system has like some safeguards to where if you screw up, it'll like, hey, you mistyped this, or maybe there's like some kind of check. I don't know, but that's kind of wild. Okay. Yeah. I think it's just a setup script. So let's look at the Python script and see what I can glean from this. Interesting. I don't know. Holy hell. I think what they've done is done like a modular Python script. And what they're doing is, I think, getting like the loader directory, the entry directory, and all the things. Are they using like EFI Bootmanager at all? No. Huh. It's kind of crazy. They use systemd-boot, but manage it with the kernel stub. Oh, okay. Now go back to grub. Well, that's easy enough. Do we want to go back to grub? Do y'all want to see me going back to grub? What are we at? All right, we can do that. You know how much I love me some grub. Let's go grub. Install. You know what? Let's go TLDR grub -install. Yeah. So you got your different configuration, all that. I'd probably just do like a sudo grub install --EFI directory equal to boot, and then just specify like the hardware. So mine was like NVMe 1 N1, like so. And this would install grub. So yeah, honestly, I don't think any of it's really needed now, because if you're using EFI, I'm just thinking out of the box here. If you're using EFI Bootmanager and specifying everything directly in it, do you even need a boot manager? That's kind of like where my thought is here, because you're specifying the Linux kernel in the image directly in EFI, which acts as the boot manager itself. So you don't actually need an intermediate boot manager. That's kind of cool. EFI boot manager just sets up the NVMe. So it still has some dependencies probably with systemd boot then. Yeah, TLDR is such a great program. I always forget like syntax and little stuff, and I'm like, okay, I just kind of need like the average example runtimes, and then I'm like, okay, that's all I need. Because man usually gives me too much. Help usually has a whole bunch of garbage in it, and TLDR is always like, here's actual usage examples. It's such a good command. Bootmanager lets you add kernel arguments on the fly without actually permanently editing the bootloader kernel arg line. Okay. I got you. So if I needed to re-edit something on my Bootmanager, I might have some issues. That's kind of cool. I know. Well, I don't think we're actually using grub. And we never really did make a loader file. I think I just want to keep it like that. So if you do like a tree, here's everything we have. While we're here, let's remove offie. Our break.sh, I'm going to leave that there. That's what we ran. We got modules, which that's just EFI modules. We got a couple Bootmanager themes. That's just grub themes. We could honestly get rid of all of the grub folder. I feel like we should delete all of grub, all of systemd, see what happens. For science. Get rid of all the loader. You're definitely going to need syslinux though. And see if EFI, all of the systemd boot stuff's gone, and then all of the grub stuff's gone. Can you just use EFI Bootmanager? Just rename it so it's easy to reverse. Yeah, that would be the smart thing to do, LoJack. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. I like it. So instead of loader, let's move loader, right, to old loader. And then let's move grub to old grub. So now we don't have loader or grub referenced anywhere, right? And then if we look at EFI entries, you can see in here, we don't have anything but just EFI entries. So there is no systemd loader files. There is no grub loader files. So there's no fallback in here. Now let's reboot. I really want to see if it's only using these base EFI installs with no other context, no other, because what I'm thinking about is it falling back into grub or using any of the grub files, or is it using any of the systemd loader files? I don't know. Now this might break it. That's the downside. But something in me just says, I have to know. Have to know. Here we go. What are those failed? All right, well, sure it's nothing. Yeah, I think it was just an unmounting issue. All right. Take us in, HP Wolf. All right. Error sending end of post message to ME, which is fine. It's just management engine. Okay. Nothing thus far. Now, I think there is a little bit of a latency here with, I think a service I'm running in the background that's waiting for the network to actually boot up and then finally dropping us in. So I think that's why there is a little bit of a delay at the start here. Huh. Well, hot damn. A little too colorful for my taste. Ah, much better. Okay. Huh. The hell? I can't break my system. I'm losing it. I'm losing it, guys. Usually I've broken it by now. I'm a little disappointed. All right, well, let's it booted. It just works. Oh yeah. Let's do a TLDR. Here, let's come on over to the system real fast. First off, let's just remove all of old grub. RF that. All right, let's remove the old loader. RF that. Let's then look at EFI boot MGR, right? So this is what we're doing right now. Now, as you see here, we have a couple different entries with this. Boot order right now uses 07, which is our EFI stub that we created directly. We fed it the Linux LTS kernel right here. We do have this Linux Bootmanager. Now, this is system D boot. This one is the grub one, which is right here. And that one pulls in there. These are the hard drives themselves, not reading anything. So these are just hardware. But this is grub, this is system D, and this is EFI stub. What we manually created. So let's go EFI boot MGR help. And then we need to delete some stuff. EFI boot MGR. Let's clear up the rest. So EFI boot MGR, and was it a capital B? Yeah, it was capital B. -B. And then we just say, okay, system D, goodbye. All right, well, maybe it just wants, like, the number 6. Is the help file wrong? -B, delete boot number. Modify boot numbers -B. Just 006. Okay, yeah. So 0006. Boom. Huh. Oh, lowercase b and then the B after. Oh, that's kind of a weird syntax, huh? TLDR EFI boot manager. Let's see what we got. Ah, yeah. So this is what chat was saying. This is how to actually delete the boot option. So it would look something like EFI boot MGR -B, then 006, which you can see right here. 06 is our system D, and 05 is our grub. So then we have that, and then we just go capital B. Boom, flushed it. And then 005 would be dumping the grub. So we no longer have grub or system D. And now if we just do it EFI boot MGR, you now just have this glorious EFI stub hard-coded in. Now, question. What happens if that file name in boot? I guess init RAM LTS should be fine, but I feel like there should be a fallback. You know what I'm saying? So if we look back on our break script we got, there's this. And I feel like we should make another one and call this one fallback. And then for the loader, fallback. And then our init RAM needs to be referenced as well. Fallback, right? So we'll double check these file names real fast. But that technically should work. So you have the init RAM right here, a fallback. And then you also have no, you don't. There is no fallback kernel right here. So it's just NTFS fallback. So it's just a fallback for the init RAM. This is why we check. So something like that. And this would create a fallback kernel now. So then we'd have EFI stub arch, and then we'd have EFI stub arch fallback. Is that needed? Probably not. But let's reboot just to double check. I'm not going to run this. I guess this is in case the init RAM fails during a build. Oh, hell, let's just run it. I think it's fine. So then we'll have this one. And then we now have EFI arch fallback right here. All right, cool. Now we reboot. But now it's booting to the fallback partition. It should be 007. All right, TLDR, EFI boot MGR. We want to change the current boot order. So what this should look like is EFI boot MGR dash order. And we want the standard one, which is 0007, followed by 0005, and then follow that by, I'm not going to do all these. I want to just push it back into the firmware in case this breaks. Is there a firmware boot in here? What would that look like? So you have 0 all the way through all of that. USB, NAS storage. Oh, hell. Because 4 is that, so let's just grab it all. So now your boot order is correct. And reboot. Now we need a GUI for it. Oh. I agree. We can put it in the Linux utility. So one last reboot. So we won't have EFI or grub, or I mean, we won't have systemd boot or grub as boot options. And it'll first try to do our entry for this. If that doesn't work, let's say you have a failed init RAM, the fallback should be there. to fall back to. And if that doesn't work, then it just tries to hard boot off of other hard drives in the system. It's kind of cool. Very clean, I would say. I like it a lot better than systemd boot. For now. Until it breaks. I do worry about updates. I want to kind of see. I'm going to just roll with it and see what happens. And remind me if I go reboot on stream and it breaks that I did this. Because I might forget. Yeah, this would work with Windows Linux. But the boot menu would be your BIOS. So you'd be hitting like delete and then, or you'd probably like F8. Some BIOSes have a hotkey to display a boot menu. The boot is actually controlled directly in the BIOS now. What if you switch the LTS kernel now? Well, so if you want to switch back to like, let's say mainline or maybe Zen, you would have to manually do an EFI boot MGR entry. But honestly, if you're using systemd boot, shit, you're doing that anyways, right? Systemd boot, you can just hold W to boot Windows. Oh, that's kind of a neat. I didn't know that. That's a little cool Easter egg for systemd boot. Kind of unnerving not to see the output of the kernel booting. Yeah, that's the other weird thing, is because it's just shooting everything direct from the BIOS. There's no middleman. And I wonder, would that cause problems long term? I don't think it would, actually, now that I think about it more. Because it's... the name of the thing will never change. I'm just going to stick on LTS. So you always will have init RAM Linux-LTS. You'll always have just the VM, what is it, VMZ Linux? Yeah, very cool. I dig it. I wonder if doing this on a standard system, now this is like a server system with a Xeon processor, so it's a ridiculous workstation. That's what takes so long. There's all these miscellaneous checks before it actually boots up, so that's why it takes forever to load. I'm kind of curious to see what this would look like on a fresh system. We could write something on Linux utility, although I don't think I want to be responsible for breaking people's systems. Anyways. And there's no cool boot menu theme. That's also true. Yeah, let's do a systemd analyze and see what the hell's going on here. I bet you network's going to be a big one. Because, yeah, there's definitely something... No. 31 seconds. Firmware. Jeez. 25 seconds for kernel. 38 seconds userland. All right, give me a bigger readout here. Systemd analyze. Let's say blame. Give me the blame here. Network manager. It's always network manager. So this is something I specifically made. You might be thinking, Titus, why would you purposely delay your system 34 seconds on boot? Because I use NFS shares. You know how I'm always kind of like, hey, let's just wing it and I don't care if everything gets erased? The reason why I do that is I just have NFS shares. So I almost treat my home system as I would like a VM. Almost all my important data isn't stored on the machine itself. It's stored on like my NAS box. So I have this big, long network manager wait. Now that I've said this, is it actually mounting everything? That's the next question. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Oh, main pool's not mounted though. So if you do mount -A, does it mount everything properly? Media. Main pool. Yeah, it does. We did have an issue with the mount there. So now if you pull it back up, let's see. Yeah, then main pool is there. This was grayed out. I'll keep an eye on that. Oh yeah. Those numbers are insanely high. You're gonna run into the firmware EFI is ridiculous. On a residential box, that's gonna be maybe a second or two. If you do like core boot or Libre boot, it'll be milliseconds. It just depends on what you're doing. Like Intel ME, when you do like the sudo blame, or actually, let's not do blame. Let's just do the analyze. Right here, this is 31 seconds. This is insane. This right here is complete insanity. And that's just because this is a server. Servers, I don't know what they do with the firmware, but everything just takes a lot longer on boot. The kernel being 25 seconds, I don't understand that. That seems a little excessive. And the user space is all my doing. So this right here, that's me with this custom service, so I get my NFS shares properly. This, that might be okay. What are your guys' kernel when you do a system deanalyze? So you have 9 seconds on EFI, 7.5 for the kernel. Okay. And 2.7 for the user space. Yeah, like I said, a user space I understand. My times, Vort says, is 2 seconds for the loader. I wonder why that's taking 2 seconds. 2.8 seconds for the kernel right here. Oh, you know what it is? It could be my GPU pass-through as well. So if we look over here, you guys got to remember. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Oh, I just remembered. Shit. I can't do this. We have to revert everything. Yeah. Damn it. My PCI pass-through is broken. Ah. Oof. I think we're okay. I totally forgot about my PCI pass-through. But that's okay. Wait, we can still do it. We can still do it. We can feed these directly into the EFI Bootmanager. Still don't need grub. Oh, this is getting kind of insane, though. Do I need to remove the EFI boot? Oh, I can probably modify the entry. All right, Vim break. So then... paste. Oh, no. 1 second. Well, actually, you know what? Let's just, we'll stay in here. Let's go, We'll open up a new one. And then... Oh, I thought I'd be tricky there, but never mind. I gotta get better about my Vim navigation. I was like, I'll do that, but I'm just thinking out loud here. Let's come back into here. So we have this, the log level quiet, go all the way right here, yank, and then come back to here. So then let's go here. Instead of this quiet, let's get rid of that. We're going to do a read write. We're going to do all these modifications directly to EFI Bootmanager. I don't see an issue with this. It seems kind of insane to do this. But I think we'll be okay. Oops. Sudo. Right, please. Now, let's go break. Let's go sudo break. And now we have a whole brand new... Oh, this is Arch as well. So now we have all these other entries. Nah. That's kind of funny. All right, we got that. Build that fallback kernel. Let's call this Arch Titus with my own flavor here. All right, let's go sudo write because I forgot to do it through sudo command. All right, now we do a sudo break. And how many boot entries can I spawn here? That's a lot of boot entries. Sudo EFI boot mgr B. Let's go 005. Let's go 005 0007. The fallback, I think I'm actually leave. I feel like maybe I shouldn't delete these just in case this doesn't boot. Because if it doesn't boot, then we're going to have a problem. But having one of these old entries in here, I think we'll leave. Let's just leave number 7 for now. All right. Yeah, that looks good. So now we got the boot entry right here. You got a 9, an 8, and 7, and then it goes to the actual drives themselves. And we'll reboot. I'm just not sure if you can accept kernel parameters. I think you can, but yeah, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, obviously, if this doesn't work, we're going to go back to grub. But, again, I guess we just got to wait and see. Oh, man, LoJack, I keep forgetting to make videos. We've done so much work in the last 2 months. I haven't made any videos. I've just been on here hacking around, creating the Linux utility and the Windows utility and other Linux shenanigans. And I haven't made any main channel videos or even document this stuff other than making these streams. We did get a little bit of a readout there. How about that? Instead of doing the silent, I took out the quiet argument because I was like, hey, just give me what you're doing in the background. So triggering U events under UDEV. Oh, it could be. I got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's more verbose now with that. So now if we look with these kernel parameters, we should have a VM up and going, or at least starting. Yeah, I mean, the algorithm pretty much already tanked my views. So it's okay. Got to do what you love. But I'm still going to make videos on it. Like, it's just going to be less. All right, look, Windows 11 is now starting. No more error messages. So it does look like it accepted the kernel parameters. And once this boots all the way up, we should be able to just go Looking Glass. Oh, that's right. Our Looking Glass kind of has this double start thing where I have to start it and then like quit it. And then File will be like, hey, I'm booting up. So maybe we do redo Looking Glass. Maybe. Oh, it's just Windows being Windows. Okay. Very interesting. So yeah. You don't need systemd boot and you don't need grub. You can just use EFI Bootmanager on modern systems. Why have an intermediate boot manager? They're good questions, honestly. Yeah. Man, everything's just been aces today. Everything we've tried has just kind of worked. That never happens. I like GitHub Desktop. Indy having that GUI interface. Sometimes when I get lost in the weeds, GitHub Desktop is there to rescue me. Also, the thing I like most about GitHub Desktop is it shows my changes in a really clear way. Now, I do want to try some of the more third-party tools like GitKraken and some other ones. There's even paid tools out there. I think GitKraken might be one of them that are apparently even more powerful, but I haven't messed with them. You use code with GitLens, also a good choice. Please define insanity. Doing the exact same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Insanity is messing with your bootloader when it works fine. Hey, I'm here to entertain. Are you not entertained? I was just disappointed nothing broke. I was like, well, this is not as entertaining as I thought it would be. All right, so let's go Looking Glass. How to upgrade Looking Glass is probably the next thing I kind of have a question on. How to upgrade Looking Glass. What's that? That process. Here we can just go off the AI. The AI overview tells us how to do it. Nothing bad could ever happen there. So we just copy and paste, right here, looking-glass.host.setup.exe and configure it. Okay. And then you eat your Tide Pod down here. And oh, that's funny. Okay. Oh, let's see. What do we got? So install libvirt QEMU. Can I just upgrade this thing? I feel like I can. This is B6. I kind of want the B7 for the host. So let's go download now. So here's the official stable. We're on this version, but we have the B7 release candidate that was done here. So, do we have, okay, there's this. That's at 135. McBurr, thanks for the prime. All right, so yeah, I think for science, since everything's going so well today, I feel like this would be quite the stretch to see if this works out of the box. Let's just try an in-place upgrade of Looking Glass. I'm feeling lucky today. Let's just grab the binary here, right? We're gonna go host binary. Huh. Yeah, sure, let's run it. I agree. Yeah, sure, let's just put it everywhere. Now, if you install 7, Looking Glass will just stop working altogether. So we've broken Looking Glass now, which is fine. Now let's grab the release candidate, which is our source file right here with the tar. So come into downloads. We'll just go oh, that's actually tar. Tar, XVF, Looking Glass. Go into Looking Glass. What was the build process like? I can't remember. Let's go documentation. And building. And it wants to do a git clone. We're not going to do that, I guess. We'll do build dependencies. Should already be good to go. Fetch, building. Let's just try that. All right. And off the races. We could have done this through the AUR, but I was kind of like, I don't know about doing it through the AUR. A little bit on the fence. I want to make sure all the versions matched up, and the AUR sometimes doesn't get updated. All right, that looked good. So then we have Looking Glass client. I do want to do like a help file here as well and see what we got. RAM usage. We're doing shared memories with the VM BCA, so we should be okay. Now we have all that. Our hosts file, we probably will need a reboot. So to reboot that, let's go into Ramina. All right. Now, we'll pull into here. Perfect. All right. So here's our looking glass setup. We'll close that out. We're just remoting in using VNC right here. We're going to give it a little kick. That's going to kick us out. Great. So now that VM's rebooting, we've rebuilt looking glass here, but the thing that because this was just a make. I want to say you want to do like a make install, sudo make install. Yeah. So that wasn't part of the instructions, but that just makes sense in my brain. So now if we're back here, let's close out looking glass client -- help. Is there a version? No. What's the best way to grab the binary version of the looking glass? It should say here client usage. So full screen is usually what we go with, but I want to see if there's a way. All right, all command line options. Render. Look at me reading. Who would have thunk it? It doesn't really show a way to. They might not have a version command. I'm just appreciative that work even exists for looking glass. Let's just wing it. We'll know real fast if it pulls up, huh? Well, hot damn. All right. Yeah. Well, everything's just looking up today. We just upgraded looking glass to looking glass RC7 or B7 RC1. It just works. Wow. Maybe there's some other complex thing we need to do today. Well, since we're on the subject of everything just working magically as I touch it today, can we think of anything else really complex that I've been putting off? Man, the power of old man naps is really something. Dang. Game mods and all. Well, that's what we did yesterday. We did the build of... Oh, I was working on this cool modification to Diablo 2 Resurrected where I was changing the art style because I didn't like how the bottom bar looked. So I was redoing some of the opacity and changing some of the elements because they actually did this really cool wrapper in it and did it all in like JSON. So you can modify all the JSON files, and then the only weird part was exporting out to sprite format. I never worked with sprite files, so that was kind of an interesting one to kind of tinker around with. I haven't played any Age of Empires 4 in a while, man. Yeah, I kind of jumped out. I got too involved, I want to say, in it. Fitness video update. Well, I was doing power snatches last night in the garage, so I'm actually doing really good, and that was kind of cool. I was doing about 100 pounds, about 95 pounds on the bar on the power snatch, which is not like that impressive, but for me it's a big deal because I have just terrible posture. I have this really like misshapen back from decades of computer work, so even being able to do a snatch I'm kind of impressed with. Deadlifts about 350. But for kilos, you're probably wanting kilos on that. Probably around like 180 kilos for the deadlift. Dips, yeah, I can do dips all day long. Yeah, pounds are complicated. Time to set up Titus Conky. Oh my gosh, people still use Conky. Man, I hadn't used Conky in forever. Yeah, well, here, I'll do the conversion for you. What was it? I think it was like 350 was around what I was deadlifting. Like, that's like a 3-rep max. So if I'm doing like, probably like 15, 20 reps, maybe I do like 4 sets of 5 or something like that. Probably around 305 would be more practical. So probably like 140 kilos. Yeah, you know, honestly, when it comes to a lot of like powerlifting and those types of things, everything's done in kilos because it's such a worldwide event. Heck, I think I was watching something the other day where China, they go into like the rural districts of China and they pick out kids from like the age of 4 or 5 years old. Like they're in like very beginnings of grade school, and they immediately enroll them and say, yes, you're genetically superior. I'm going to pick you out and you're going to become a weightlifter. And then they train them for like 15 years to compete later on. That's kind of wild. I was like, that's cool. Yeah. Do you do dips too? Yeah. Dips are actually more advantageous for me because of my back. Because since I'm kind of curved over a little bit, I can do a ton of dips. It's a great exercise for sure. I think the one exercise people do that is kind of pointless. Like dips are great for triceps because you have constant tension in that muscle group. Where some people do kickbacks, and I'm like, oh, what are you doing? Don't bother with kickbacks. Kickbacks are like the most worthless exercise that everyone always does wrong, and it doesn't even give you much. Just do either dips, but let's say you can't do dips. I would do skull crushers. Is way better exercise than a kickback, in my opinion. Yeah, for me, I would do like my big exercises that I love are probably snatch. What is the snatch world record, by the way? 225 kilos. Holy crap. That's insanity. Wow. He did it so easy too. Yeah, I'm doing literally a fifth of this guy. That's impressive. Oh, wow. That's insanity. Anyways, yeah, so snatch would be one. Deadlift, sure, which everyone knows what a deadlift is. Clean and jerk is another one. I think all the Olympic lifts, those are just so important. Like the clean and jerk is you clean from the ground and then you go overhead with it. And it just works every single muscle group you could imagine. I'm trying to think. Between those, bench for sure for chest. You can't beat a bench press. I think that's about it, really. Yeah, 500 pounds over your head is nuts, especially on a snatch. That's just ridiculous. I didn't even think anybody could snatch over 400 pounds. Have you tried any martial arts? Maybe like some Taekwondo, not too long ago. But I mean, that's nothing like practical. Not like, what is it? Oh, here, I'm going to go to chat here. Let's just chat for a second.
Shenanigans.
Hey. Yeah, I would say for me, yeah, you know, jiu-jitsu I think is a real one that a lot of people like, but I'm kind of, I don't really care too much about a lot of that stuff. The boot modifications were wild. However, they worked immediately, unlike the installation process of VMware. Oh, man. How do you manage your stream across all these virtual machines? I would say kind of poorly. It just, I have a monitor and I use Synology. So a lot of times when I'm in here, I can flip back over to the other machine and then look back and say, hey, okay, we got that, and go between all of them. So that's why I use Xorg too, because I use Synology with 2 different screens and 1 keyboard and mouse to share between the 2. Or Synergy, not Synology. I don't know why. I said Synology. Oh, yeah. Lifting 500 pounds. Yeah, Eddie Hall, I think he deadlifted dang near 1,000 pounds. Did you see Eddie Hall get the nosebleed while he was deadlifting? That was insanity. I don't yet. We were working actually on that. So if you look over here, what else did we need to do on the DWM side of things? As I was looking at that, and so we set up this. Oh, that's right. We needed to do... This is the dependencies for the display manager. We're setting up Xorg right here. But then for the display manager... SDDM, GDM, or light DM using systemd status. And why I say systemd status is that would be pretty universal, pretty agnostic, and it should give us... actually, let's see what the LLM tells us. Yeah. You need to... Oh, God, that's terrible. Check systemd first to see which one... To see if any of the 3 are installed. Huh. Instead of echoing that out, set a variable to which one is installed, or none if none are installed. Just do an else statement for none. Look at this garbage. That's hilarious. Oh, we're using Jippity. That's why. I was about to say, man, this is particularly bad today. Definitely having some issues. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, no. All right. Let's see what Sonnet gives us. Do we need apt? Well, so this is agnostic. So I want apt to work for Debian and Ubuntu-based installs in all derivatives. I want Pacman to work for all Arch-based and Arch-based derivatives. That's Catchy, Manjaro, all of those. And then I want DNF to work for all RHEL-based distros. That's Fedora and all the derivatives of it. So let's go check systemd if GDM, SDDM, or light DM service is installed and active. If it is not, set the variable current DM to none. All right, that's good. All right, I like that for the beginning of this. So if current DM is none, blah, blah, blah. So it's doing GDM, SDDM, light DM. We're going to go pick SDM. Let's go SDDM. Actually, you know what? I kind of like that. So current DM's there. If none, then break into here. We will set DM. Actually, DM. It says SDDM by GDM by default. No, we're going to do SDDM. So we're checking to see what's done here. We're doing a system is active, quiet, DM service, then current. Boom. I like it. Does that work though? I don't think I've ever used that command. System DM. Or system, was it CTL? Oh yeah, system CTL. Is active. SDDM. It's like, what is that? Oh. Inactive. GDM. Inactive. Light DM. Inactive. Greet D. Active. Oh, that's cool. All right, I've never used the is active trigger for that. Thanks, LLM, teaching me something new today. All right, cool. So we're setting that is active, quiet, seeing that, setting the current DM. To that. So then this DM down here is set. No display manager installing here. Package escalation, SDDM. Let's make sure Pacman SDDM. Perfect. So let's just SDDM this. We're going to install SDDM. Let's get rid of greetd. So we're going to go sudo systemctl disable greetd. That's kind of weird. But okay. I'll allow it. And then let's go ahead and enable SDDM. How do we want to output the SDDM? If we look at Arch Titus, actually, I think I already did this. I want to say in scripts during the post setup. If we look at the theming and SDDM.conf. Yeah. Where's the configuration for SDDM? Oh, there was no configuration. All I was doing was the theming of Nordic, which I don't really care about. We want to actually do an auto login of the user. So then we got that. We got apt. Yes, SDDM. I think SDDM is pretty universal among all these. So we're going to just get that. So then SDDM gets installed. Let's go DM. Now. So that's installed. But this isn't quite right. So you have your case here. Kind of want to just do it up here. Because if you already have a current display manager done right there, we don't need to be... Will we be forced to use Wayland in the near future? Yes. That's in the pipeline, Jay. Sad to say, RHEL-based systems, so all Fedora-based systems, will be forced to use Wayland in Fedora 42, I want to say. Xorg will not be in the repos. In Fedora 41, I want to say Xorg is not used by defaults, or maybe it was Fedora 40 already. I know it's already switched over, but yeah, in the near future, we won't have these packages. At least that's what they keep saying. Sad to say. Yeah, currently 40, I think Wayland is the default option, but yeah. All right, so we have the enable. We're enabling it. Write a auto login etc sddm.conf. Was it SDDM? I can't remember. Where was SDDM? Yeah, I think you could just do etc sddm conf or auto login. That's kind of ugly. It is. I think I'll be fine. Gosh, is that ugly. Let me think about this for a second. Can't we use... I kind of want to do like an EOF back ticket in or something like that. But doing an if no file found, else said... Actually, that's fine. That's fine. Because we're configuring it for auto login. That's fine. Let's take this guy. Take it over. Put that there. I'm going to set up the auto login. Set user mod. Okay. So first off, you check to find check if auto login group exists. and create it if it doesn't. And then user mod the auto login group to the current user. Will this work to... I don't think this will work if this is being set up inside of an Arch ISO, now that I'm thinking about it. Because you'd probably want to read the UUID 1000 to the... I want to say UID 1000 user. I don't think that's quite right, but let's see what it does. Creating auto login, group add. Is this the same for Arch, Fedora, and Debian? Okay, that does work. Cool. Nice. I couldn't remember. I thought it was like add group in one of them. It could be hallucinating and tell me the wrong thing right now, though. All right, so we have the auto logins situated up, SDDM getting configured with auto login. Then adding user with UID 1000. Let's just run this real fast. I'm kind of curious. Let's go. So let's say we're running a super user. It would return the right user. Yeah, I kind of liked that. And then if no user UID 1000, then that's that. No user UID found. I feel like that's pretty good. So we're setting up Xorg. These are all the dependencies. Just the basic xinit and Xorg server. Once that's done, grab the display manager. Current display manager is this. Set DM to none. I feel like we should probably prompt the user whether they want auto login or not. How many people use auto login? As far as like login scripts, what do y'all think? Because that's where I'm like, I think auto logins, I mean, I like to use it everywhere, all the time. But do people actually sit there with the display manager and log in? Is that what most people do? Well, I know you, Peter, use TTY. Display managers are bloat. It's true. Snow logs in. Indy doesn't. Vor says, I don't use auto login, but I could set it up, but I generally don't log out anyways. Okay. I don't do login. Only my laptop home systems. Home systems never. Yeah, auto login. It makes sense for a home system. On laptop, yeah, not on my desktop. Yeah, I use passwordless with SDDM. What's passwordless? That's something new. Oh, you're just using a key pair for it. Okay, yeah. Well, let's is this SSH. I guess you could. I wonder, you could probably set up it to auto read like a USB, and then you just press on like a FIDO key, and then it would read it and then log in. I bet we could set something like that. That'd be kind of cool. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting distracted. So lots of people actually use login, and I could totally see that from a, I mean, if you're using a display manager, it ain't exactly the most secure thing ever. But apparently people do like the, I think sometimes the illusion of security is just as important as security itself. Because display managers are so easy to hack that it's like, what's the point? That's why I just use auto login, because I figure everyone knows how to bypass them. But I think a lot of Linux users like the illusion of security, so I think I should probably prompt them whether or not to auto log in or not. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't see a point in a display manager really, other than fancifying the login procedure. Okay. So let's just take this. Bam. And then take this. Let's take this down. What I'm going to do here then, before running this, prompt user if they want to auto log in. Clear the screen and present them with a yes, no prompt that they navigate with up, down arrows or JK Vim bindings. All right. All right, so then we have our option selected. We have that. All right, let's see what we got. Really? I don't like... Some of this I think is kind of crap, but that's okay. Can we nest in bash scripting? I don't think you can nest a function within a function. That's pretty poor form. Let's just see what it does. All right. So then you have this for true, blah, blah, blah. Escape sequence with arrow keys. You got up, down, JK. That's fine. Your option selection. That's great. Now, POSIX array are possibly undefined because print menu doesn't get called. That's what I have kind of a question on. Can I call? Can this function be within another function in a bash script? Yes, in bash you can define functions within other functions. This is known as nested functions or inner functions. However, there are important points to keep in mind. The inner function is only accessible within the scope of the outer function. The inner function is created each time the outer function is called. The inner function has accessibility to variables and other function scope. You can modify it with a nested print menu. All right, so yes, function and function calls is valid. Neat. Just wanted to verify that. Yeah, thanks, Snow. Yeah. Yeah. You need to understand the scope and pass variables. So yeah, I think that's like, I just was looking at what the LLM did here, and I was like, okay, I kind of like that. And then we have that set. So then it would call it. I feel like that would be a pretty good job right there. The one thing I'm unsure about here. No, I think that'll be fine. The session DWM. Here's a bug. This is a cool one. You'll appreciate this. We did a clone during the setup portion of DWM. I think it was up here. But so you have your sudo make and the clone into this directory. During the make clean install, can we set the C compiler to auto install with maybe an option in the make file to put DWM in X sessions, so the display manager would have access to it? Put it in the heap. PTSD. No. Yeah. Well, the whole point of doing this script is to be lazy. I want to be lazy where I don't have to install this crap ever again. I just want it to. I want to think of every single eventuality in a Linux distribution and how I set up my box, and then configure the script to work in every single distribution. That seems kind of crazy, but I think it could be done. Are you adding, or have you already added the auto login option to Arch Titus script? No. Yeah, the auto login is going to be in the DWM setup. Now, there is a question here. We could put it in common script, as if we do make other installs like Hyperland Titus, we may want to have this in another install. Although Hyperland Titus wouldn't be using, would use SDDM. SDDM's agnostic. It's one of the few display managers that work between Xorg and Wayland. Maybe we look at that make file. Oh, dang it. I kind of want to archive DWM Titus and bring it all in-house with the linutil. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. I need to think on that a little bit more. So, let's go over to DWM. What if? This is pretty close. This is very close to being done. But not quite. It's dang near there. But what we need to do now, let's do a GitHub desktop. Here is our current changes. We're setting the display manager. It's reading the current display manager if it exists. If not, it will install it for you. And then We'll configure it for auto login if you so choose. It'll be a yes, no option, which you select with arrow keys. And then it'll set up the auto login. Otherwise, it skips it. And you're good to go. So I think that's pretty good. Let's just commit that. Push it over to DWM fixes. I like that. It's almost ready to be merged. But I know I'm about to commit sacrilege here. Hear me out. Let's come into the make file. I want to take, during the install portion of this, we are making it, installing it. We got the binary over here. Then we create a tar file right here. Oh, no, we are doing it. Look, you got the X-Sessions DWM.desktop over into there as well. No, we're good. We're good. So we've already coded that in. So the display manager will see DWM. I must have done that in a different day because I don't remember even doing that. Or maybe I accepted a PR that did it. Either way, it's there. Great. Yeah, I think this is going to be amazing once it's done. Yeah, let's see. Let's just do a merge real fast of this. Let's do a GitHub. And we're going to bring in linutil. Got DWM. Let's do a compare and pull request. DWM fixes. We do have some... got some problems. That's okay. Add xorg deps and display manager capabilities. All right. This is a new feature. And then we also have a bug fix. All right. Yep. And then let's grab this guy. Self-review of the code, sure. Everything is commented pretty good. I don't know about errors and warnings. We'll check that here in a second. Let's create our PR. Hopefully the merges aren't anything too serious. Yeah, let's resolve the conflicts in state. Yeah. All right. Let's grab that. Was it just this one? Oh, yeah. Sweet. Now we can squash and merge. Let's make sure those lints go off without a hitch before we squash and merge it, though. Make sure our unit tests are gravy. Comments equals 0. I just installed Chatterino, watching on my Raspberry Pi with MPV on DWM. Pretty little setup using just 11% of resources and drawing. Sipping, I would say, 7 watts from the wall. This little thing rocks. You, sir, are a Chad. I love it. I love that comment right there. That's one of my favorite comments in chat all day. Chatterino's great, too. I love Chatterino. All right. Looks like our lints passed. I did fat finger and add a bunch of garbage to it. Let's do a merge. And squash and merge this bad boy. Let's delete the DWM fixes branch. And we are off to the races. Let's pull down our linutil. We're going to go git switch main. We're going to pull that. Oh, looking good. We'll cargo run it. Look at that beauty. Beautiful. All right. Yes. So we have our server set up, but now we have the application set up with DWM Titus. That is looking great. Cog, thanks for the tier 1. All right. I think we got to test it. Do we still have that Arch instance available? Let's see. It looks like we do. Let's open that. When do you think you'll add the EFI changes to linutil? Oh my god, Tom, I don't know. It's kind of scary, to be honest with you. To do that. Oof. Because if I screw it up, I don't want to be bricking someone's computer. That's the problem with EFI Bootmanager, where if I screw up a grub install, most people are dual booting. So they could just go, no worries. Go into their BIOS and then just pick like Windows. I guess you could say the same if I screwed up EFI Bootmanager too. Never mind. Yeah, you know what? I will code something. Tom, we'll get her done. We'll get it done. Let's curl fizzle. ChrisTitus.com. We have that. Let's see. Oh, Kogu, thanks for the upgrade. Tier 3. All right. Appreciate you. Man, I tell you. Let's look. This is an interesting thing. I almost want to just delete this and start from scratch, but I think we can learn something from it. I think we erase the DWM in the current one, rerun the setup. I wanted to double check to see if the pre-release is there. We should auto-release the pre-release. Let's look at the assets. Yesterday. Did the action not fire off? Pre-release now, 19 seconds ago. Oh, I just need a refresh. Let's go to releases again. So we got the DWM fixes, Arch Titus implementation. All right, let's just trash this guy. Get rid of that old pre-release. I'm going to get rid of this draft. I feel like this is going to be gravy, but let's first run it. We're going to go Linux dev. Oh. Linux dev. Pipe sh. Nah, we don't have JQ. I'll fix this here in a second. It's not going to look like this. All right, fizzle that again. Now, let's go DWM Titus. All right, so we should see Xorg auto install. Now we're grabbing some, it looks like X in it. And now, auto login, SDDM. Now we're doing sudo make build of that DWM. Done. So if we did it correctly, it would just reboot and then drop us onto a desktop. So we got our display there. And then does it auto log in and drop us to a desktop? Okay. Dude, nice. Okay. Now, I don't have anything installed here. That was a issue. I forgot to. Yeah, that was a bad My bad on that one. Let's see. Let's see if we can't drop to like TTY real fast. Let's go F3. Actually, let's just fizzle the Linux dev again. I almost got this. 1 second. Yeah, I need to rewrite that so it's not using jQuery. I keep forgetting. Let's go apps, Alacrity. So I would grab Alacrity and then probably like my Rofi as well. So get it, Alacrity. Probably want my bash prompt too. So we grab the terminal with all my customizations, Alacrity, Rofi. I think that should be good. By the way, my bash prompt is still forcing you yay install. Huh. Need to... I think I'm going to bring all these in-house. Having them as separate repos, it's just too scattered. I thought I might want them for modularity, but I don't think I like it. I think I'm going to archive these other repos and then bring them all directly into linutil. That way, when the binary gets built, it's not having to download anything. It'd be kind of cool if it was all self-contained in one binary. Even though this looks like an insane amount. Nah, I mean, it's going to need internet access, so that doesn't matter if it's self-contained or not. Anyways, yeah, just thinking out loud. Give each one a separate folder. Yes, no, I think that's what we do. I agree with that. Yeah, we want the fuzzy file, that, and yeah, update my config files. Okay, cool. So then when we quit out of this, let's just give it another reboot. I want to see what this looks like on... Yeah, so now we have that, and if we go, we got Alacrity. Oh, that looks pretty. Look at that. Oh. Ooh. That works way better. Dang, everything is just, God, aces today. It's like I just touch stuff and it just fixes on itself. It's insane. I feel like we've been streaming for like 5 hours and fixed like a jillion things on this stream. And it just like everything is perfect. What the hell? I need to go to Vegas. Yeah. Can you add auto login option to Arch Titus? Because I want to use Arch with KDE, but I don't want to log in and set the option and set no password. Yeah, we could do something like that. KDE is kind of a strange one. I remember using a third-party project to grab KDE's configuration and reload. I need to dive back into KDE and see what kind of setup we want to do for it. All right. Well, I think this was amazing. We've already done that. I think we set this to the latest release and roll with it. This has been amazing. Let's just set this release to today. We're going to set it to the latest. And that's crazy. I think this will be our latest release. I know we didn't do a lot of tests on this, so there'll probably be some errors, but it fixed so many different things from refactors to the DWM fixes, in addition of like RPM Fusion for Fedora users, Steam and Lutris updates. We had numlock toggles. Dev branch should no longer use JQ after we're done here. So now when we pull this in, it actually... here, we can test it real fast. just to show you. Let's purge the JQ package and then test it out. So here's our desktop right now. Before, when we did Linux dev, like we did that. Well, it takes a little bit. Let's do a sudo pacman remove JQ. Now, without the JQ package, we weren't able to curl or pull the Linux dev version. But with the update, I want to say I rewrote the Linux dev package to where it no longer requires the JQ package or jQuery. Yeah. And there we go. Thing of beauty. Alrighty. Does our start menu? Oh, okay. Well, oopsies. Might need to work on that start menu. Yeah, I think I'm going to redo my power off menu. I think we're having some bugs with that. But the big thing that I want to do is make standardizations in my DWM. What happens a lot when people rice Linux, and something that I kind of wanted to go over was a lot of times you'll see something you like that's super pretty and it's almost impossible to replicate. The big thing that I want to do with this project is bring it to the masses, meaning everybody. It doesn't matter what system or distribution you're on, you'll just be able to click it and know that it'll work and it'll go and it'll install everything that you need for it to look properly. And the big thing here is the standardization of fonts, making sure everything is like nerd fonts. You're not having to go, okay, crap, to have this display properly, let me go get some Font Awesome, or no, that's a Roboto font from Google, or no, that's a Noto color emoji. You know, none of that. I want to make sure everything's consolidated into like a standardized nerd font, or if we have to add another package, probably Noto color emoji would be one to grab like symbols and stuff from. But I feel like that's the thing that is missing most in Linux, and why most people have awful experiences in Linux is because they see something that looks amazing, but then they go to do it and then they fall on their face because it's either poorly documented, it's not standardized, or it's using like a gajillion different dependencies and weird font packages. So it's almost impossible to replicate. And the thing that I'm doing here is, it may not look the prettiest, but if we set the framework right, we set up everything and standardize everything 100%, everything should work every time. Perfect. And doesn't matter which pick. And I think that's the biggest thing here. And that's my thought process is, so I'm never going to add something that causes, or if I do add something that causes issues, I'm going to definitely revert it. Stability, reliability is going to be the name of the game for everything I want to do. Everything needs to be standardized. Not a ton of crap everywhere. Like everyone always does that. So I definitely don't want to do it. 6, thanks for the 5 gifted subs, man. Much appreciated. Yeah, and I think the big thing why I say all this is I see a pattern with most people when they come to Linux is they see something, they chase it, they're trying all these different distributions, trying a bunch of different desktop environments, different settings, and it ends up being less stable for them than their Windows or Mac counterpart. And it doesn't need to be like that. It shouldn't be like that. And that's the stock experience I think most users get when they come to Linux. And Linux is incredibly stable if you know what you're doing. And I think we can make it very, very stable, especially how I use Linux. And if you want to use it like I do, it will be a great experience for you. And we just got to make sure we standardize that to where the setup becomes pretty simple and the maintenance of it is almost none, which would be great.
And that's going to make adoption so much easier, because I see the thing, I'm also known as like the Windows utility guy. I would say now, considering how many people run that per day, is insane. But with the advent of how much things change, like 3 weeks ago, we stripped out Microsoft Edge on Windows. That's already been patched by Microsoft. My workaround was to change the region. And then with the region change to Scotland, they are forced in EU to be able to uninstall Edge. And the reason why I did this workaround that way was because that makes more sense to me, and it gives a clean uninstall of Edge because they're forced to by law. In the United States, that's not the case. And they've already patched that out. So that tells me they are definitely looking at that. And here in the States, they don't want you uninstalling their stuff. They like their monopoly, and they will do a lot to keep that monopoly. And you can also see that from a surveillance state perspective, not to get too tinfoil hat, you know how much I don't like talking about privacy and security. But when you look at Microsoft Recall, that's getting baked into Windows. That won't be able to get removed unless you do like a hard-coded, like strip it out directly on an ISO, which, if I know Microsoft, they're going to make a lot of dependencies on Recall, and they're having a lot of tie-ins, and then other Microsoft products won't work quite as well. And that's what you see with Edge when you remove it or strip it out 100% without it doing correctly. It's kind of wild. And like I said, I will keep up with all this as I go through it with Windows. As you know, people, that's where I get most of my money these days. I haven't made a YouTube video in almost 2 months on the main channel. So most of the money I get from doing this is from just donations on the Windows utility. Whether it's people buying the executable or just saying, hey man, I really love your work, I want to support you on GitHub, and just doing GitHub donation. That also helps. But I do see a world where it's kind of wild how much time I'm spending on Windows utility and how fast that's moving and how much Microsoft's doing. It's something to where eventually I think it will get to a point where you need to switch. I don't think it'll be this year or next, but there will come a point in time where Windows will not be a viable operating system. And we need to be prepared for that. And that's what I like. The lead up of this Linux utility is, to me, is I think we can make it a better experience than Microsoft or Apple and open up Linux to a lot more people, because I do see that happening sometime. And I, like I said, it's not today. We can do a lot to Windows today to make it a usable experience. Yes, there's still telemetry and other stuff. There's projects that say we remove all telemetry and everything from Windows and it's 100% secure and private. They're lying to you. I've looked at that code. I've looked at the back end of a lot of that Windows. There's stuff you cannot remove. It's there. It's only going to get worse. So I'm getting on my soapbox. I'm going to get out of here now that I've thoroughly made everybody like, that's kind of wild. It's just the world we live in. So definitely watch out for it. Oh, hey, gaming, you have a question. For what are you enjoying more, building or working on Linutil or WinUtil? I enjoy Linux utility a lot more, so I'd love to work on it more. But Windows utility is what pays the bills. You know, that's where I make all the money. From just an adoption and usage standpoint. If I stopped doing Windows utility, I'd make $0 is what I'm making off of Linux utility. Maybe one day it gets to a point where that changes, but for now, that's where we're at, you know? It's, I think, much harder to get money in the Linux realm or do any of the thing in Linux until, you know, maybe it hits that critical mass and we eventually get there. But all right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a great time, and I will see you on Thursday for an adoption. We'll probably make it a Windows utility stream and update it with all the PRs. All right, y'all. Have a good one.
Peace.
Could it not wait? Could it wait a minute?
We're literally about to eat dinner.
Ah! God. Oh, wait. I'm still live on YouTube.